Now it's damn near midnight and I'm up here watching Phantom, Phantom from AMP. Now I don't think because I'm 52 that I don't know what's going on out here. I might not know everything, but I'm very familiar with a lot of the popular people, and I've always educated myself, so to speak, for lack of better words, um, in relation to pop culture. I don't know why. I've always been a fan of pop culture. That might be from back in the day. Wendy Williams. I'm 52. I grew up with Wendy Williams. She's what, maybe a decade older than me, a little more, give or take. I've always liked it from the Jackie Collins days in the 80s. Jackie Collins, Joan Collins' sister, if anybody's old enough to remember her, she made me want to write books, and I self-published a couple of books, you know, because of her. That book, Hollywood Wives, all of that scandal, and just growing up watching Entertainment Tonight and all those things, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, all that pop culture stuff. I've always been super into it. Those magazines they used to have back in the day. Love, 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 love pop culture. Anyway, I'm never going to be ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed of much these days. Welcome to my world. But yeah, Phantom from AMP. He does these reaction videos on YouTube. I don't know if you've ever seen any, and maybe they're not in your algorithm if you're 52, but they are in mine because I am a huge fan of AMP, and I wish them all singularly and collectively much success. He's reacting to the um, cop body cam videos, which is something that I used to watch when I was deep in freeze. I would escape through watching those videos, and I mean, I would spend the better part of 10, 12 hours just watching back to back to back body cam footage on YouTube. It's free. Why not? Want to know what's going on in the world? You want to know what's going on in your neighborhood? People are getting locked up and you don't even know it. I'm talking about high school principals for throwing parties with young kids and alcohol being involved. And all this stuff ain't happening in West Bubblefuck somewhere. Some of this stuff is happening in New Jersey, in towns not far away from where I am. Very intriguing stuff. You just never know. Can't live in your own little bubble. You just never know. But I'm not into that escapism thing anymore. I read a lot of books now, and I do a lot of studying and a lot of research because you have to grow. You have to grow, and a lot of times you're just sitting around on social media or um, watching YouTube or whatever may have you, and you're engulfed in the lives of other people, and these people are successful, and you're just watching them, and you are getting nowhere, and you're putting money in their pocket because of ad dollars, and you're investing in TikTok shop and Nike and brands and all these things, even streaming. I like the streaming things, but you can't invest so much into it that you don't invest in yourself. And I hope you get that. And it's not too late. It's never too late. That's my series. That's my mantra right now. It's never too late to invest in yourself. Don't think because you are over 50 or over 40, even over 60, that it's too late. God didn't use Moses until he was 80 years old. David was called to be king as a child, but he had to be developed. Do you understand that we have to be developed? You have an anointing, you have a calling, you have a passion. God has called you and put you in place to do certain things, but you might not be ready, honey. You might need to be developed. I know I'm being developed. You might need to be trained. You might need to have some habits and some people fall away from you. You might need to develop good habits after you let go of bad habits. And that all takes time. It can take decades. Michael Jackson started singing as a really young child, but he didn't become who he became, even though who he always was, until he became an adult. Off the Wall wasn't a smash hit. People don't know that. It's a classic now, and it's an amazing body of work that him and Quincy Jones put together. But back in the day, that wasn't such a big deal. It was Thriller that put him over the top and sent him into the stratosphere. He had to be developed. God won't give you nothing just for you to screw it up. Let me let you know. So I don't have any qualms, any regrets, or any shame or embarrassment about still being developed for a lot of things that God has shown me in my life through dreams and visions, promises that have yet to come to pass. But I know, and spiritually, because there are two realms, the physical and the spiritual, that they have already come to pass, just waiting on me to develop. I wasn't ready for. I would have screwed them up. I was ignorant, fearful, and unhealed. I would have screwed them up. And I'm talking about not just finances, that's the least. Relationships, that's more important than money. Wasn't ready. And these gray hairs make me look like I have bald headed eyebrows. I have eyebrows. It's just gray hair. But it is what it is. It's called aging. Um, I had to be developed. I had to grow. Some people grow faster than others. Sometimes when you're raised in an environment where everything is survival and you're so entrenched in drama, and not even drama but trauma, it takes a long time to heal. Everybody's road is different. Everybody doesn't have the same level of trauma, even though we all have trauma. We all need to be developed in different ways, and some people develop faster than others, or sometimes they think they do and they become these successes while they're young, and then as they get older they're realizing they never healed from their trauma. They have all this money, fame, wherewithal, power, and they're not happy on the inside, and things are starting to bubble beneath the surface because they're engaging in these relationships with all these different people, and now they're starting to notice that those people are a reflection of what's really going on with them in the inside. And it's not pretty and it's not fun, and money can't take that away. It can't change everything, and it won't. It just amplifies what's really going on inside of you and who you really are. There's nothing wrong with being over a certain age and still being developed. Remember, I already said God did not use Moses until he was 80 years old. Moses had a temper problem, and he also had trauma to heal from. Remember, a lot of people from his lineage were killed. Everybody. And his mother had to put him in the Nile River full of snakes and nasty creatures. He could have died. And he was adopted by people, Egyptians, that were foreign to him. And he was Jewish. And most of his life, some of his life, I'm going to say most, he didn't even have an identity. He didn't know who he was. He was raised by Egyptians, and he was Jewish. And the people that he was punishing was his own people. Picture that. So he got in some trouble, ran away in the backwoods somewhere in Africa or wherever he was at. He married a black woman, stayed with her family for a while. He got developed. But even while he was developing and while he had developed, there was still a part of him that had anger issues, and that caused him not to enter into the promised land. We're never going to be perfect. You can be developed, but you'll never be perfect. Don't let anybody ever shame you into thinking that it's too late for you because you're over a certain age. Don't be ashamed of gray hair. That comes with age. People just die a lot. I'm going to try to dye my hair next week. Don't be ashamed of your body changing or your knees hurting or things not being the way they used to be physically. If you're growing internally, there's nothing better than that. Bible says we're supposed to be, the outer man is dying and the inner man is being renewed every day. We're supposed to be growing internally. This flesh, this stuff don't matter. It don't matter at the end of the day. That's not what God is looking at. God searches the heart. We look at the outer appearance. God searches the heart. And even if you still haven't been married, you still haven't found true love, you are true love. You are your own true love. You love your neighbor as you love yourself. Be whole, get healed, be free. And know that nobody's ever going to come along that's going to love you more than you love yourself. I promise you that. And you are still worthy of love. even over a certain age. Be healed. Peace.